Hey holy hikers, so I figured while I'm busy making some curry for my hubby and I that I would talk to you. Honestly, sometimes I find a lot of life is just the mundane, and please do not comment on the level of my curry and ignore the sound of the washing machine, or rather the dishwasher in the background. I just started melting some butter, and now I'm going to be adding some onions and some tomato. Keep in mind, my butter may or may have not have browned, so I'm going to start by adding these. And next what I'm going to do is I'm going to just chop up a bunch of these tomatoes that I've washed. I find when my mind is overladen with trying to solve things and trying to see the big picture, that I just kind of get stuck. And today, this morning when I went to the gym, I listened to this episode, or rather sermon by T.D. Jakes, and it was talking about, now I forget the title of the sermon, but it was really, really good. And it gave me an oomph. Do not judge the way I chop tomatoes. Let a girl do what a girl gotta do. And seeing as they're cherry ones, I'm just trying to get through them, but also chop them as small as possible so that I can have a creamy or tomatoey base rather. And yeah, today I just wanted to be a friend to someone who needed a friend. Being in a season where there is a lot of transition and making new friends is a journey, as I'm learning. It's something that I am stepping into, and I am nervous, I won't lie. So as you can see, I'm just chopping up some tomato, and I'm going to be adding, I wrote it all down, 1 ground chili, in which case I'm just going to use chili powder because I do not know where our chili flakes are, or maybe I'm lying. I'm also then going to add some, let's see, some garlic, some ginger, because I love ginger, and then I need to flip the page to do the rest. Honestly, I'm just trying to chop up and put a whole bunch of goodness into a bowl that we can have during the winter. So let's add this. And I'm just going to add it back to the hob because I was really worried that my butter was going to burn to the point of no resuscitation. So I also washed some lentils. Let me just grab them. And they're really going to be the main thingamabob of my dish. So now that I can hear that things are kind of working, I'm also going to add a few cinnamon sticks. So here in this household, we love cinnamon. So I will be adding just one. And what else? So we're going to add some of the chili, and then some cardamom pods, some garlic. I learned this trick where you put some garlic in a boiling cup of water. I don't know if it actually cooks the ginger a bit, but basically I just put the ginger in the cup of hot water to help with the ginger kind of doing its thing and making my life easier. Please let me know if you think this is actually legit or I'm just making this up out of my butt. Okay, so now we have the ginger, which I need to add. I did pre-chop some ginger. It looks like this, which I add to my tea. I make what I call an African ginger tea. It's really just ginger tea, but I add the African part because I can. So I'm gonna add some of the ginger, and we'll go down the list. My mom told me to smash it just because it brings out the aroma better. And now we are going to, look what else. I need to find the cardamom. I'm gonna crush those probably with the back of my knife. And then I also will be adding some broth later. I recently started listening to, I was going to say watching, but I started listening to this podcast, or rather book, audiobook called, and I forget the name, but it's all about like different holistic ways of living and healing. And they mentioned that miso broth is really good. So I have no idea how this is going to taste in my curry. But I'm hoping it's very bland in the sense that it's not going to have such a strong taste. We'll see. I also will be adding coconut milk later. As you can tell, I'm really trying to follow a recipe and also add all the things that we like in this household that are healthy and that will help our bodies. So I'm going to mix everything because I can sense smelling kind of good. Okay, so we have some chilies. So I'm just gonna add a bit. We love heat. Well, I don't love heat, but okay, that was quite a bit. And now I'm gonna see if my garlic is going to peel better. And honestly, all we have left is to add some Kashmiri chili. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. As well as some sugar, then my broth, some garam masala. Again, hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And then I'll let that simmer, and then I'll add my, what was I going to add? I'll be adding the coconut milk at the very end, and the lentils will be cooking in, I guess, this paste that I have created. Now my question is, I boiled the whole garlic. So what do I do with this? Because I find now this has a likelihood of getting rotten sooner and faster, which makes sense because I placed it in boiling water. But as you can tell, it is kind of working. The peel is coming off a lot better. Okay, so let's see. Let us see. Okay, I really need to learn how to peel ginger, garlic. I keep mixing it up. Better, but that's okay. Okay, I'm just going to try wash these just to make some of the peeling a little bit better. If anyone is offering one-on-one cooking classes specifically for Indian cuisine, call me up, let me know. Okay. So, holy hikers, I do have a question. What is something that not has made you laugh today, but that has made you feel warm inside? And I know that sounds so cliche, but today I was driving, and actually I was parked at Walmart, and I saw this car's number plate that said Your Smile, spelled URSMILE. I was being tested on the spot, but basically it was something so simple that made me so warm inside. Okay, so I have washed my garlic. Now I'm gonna try speed up a little just so that I can add it to my curry. And get rid of any excess layers. I'm trying to work as fast as possible, as fast as my hands will let me. This is one thing I am not a fan of, is chopping garlic. I know you get the pre-peeled one, but there's something about fresh garlic. There really is. As much as I want to deny it, it's there. Okay, so we are almost done. I'm not going to lie. I am a little impatient, so I'm not going to chop all of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest. but I will be chopping these two pretty finely, and I'm hoping that this is enough. Okay. Don't judge the way I chop garlic. Please. Give your girl some grace. Okay. So now I'm going to add garlic, because who doesn't love garlic? I love garlic. Okay. So now that we have done that, I am going to thank my mom for getting this knife. This knife is a lifesaver. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this garlic on the side. I'm trying to make the least mess possible. Okay, so we're going to add this. And I definitely have to lower my heat because I can see it's beginning to burn. Okay, but I'm gonna cool that chard and I'm gonna go ahead and add my broth. My hands are filled with garlic and I just spilled some broth, so that's okay. Listen to that glug. Okie dokes. So now that I have added my broth, I am going to clean this up and I will add the Kashmiri chili, the sugar, the water, the garam masala, and my lentils and let that stew for 20 minutes. And then I will add my coconut milk rather, and then I'll show you the end product because this is part of my therapy and how I stay sane. For those who know me, I love cleanliness. It's not to say that I am always clean, but I do try. Okay, so I'm just gonna soak up some of the broth. And this is a weird thing, but I really love seeing the, what do you call it? Like the rubbish, the stuff that you should be putting in compost, because it just makes me feel so accomplished, like I'm actually cooking nourishing, delicious food for my family. And there's just some form of pride I get in just looking at that. Okay, now I'm going to add my lentils and then we'll add some of the rest of the spices. Okie dokes. So I will mention that I did place the lentils on a plate and like pick out any stones or hard pieces. That's something my mama taught me. Don't know if everybody else does it. And then I washed them twice. And yes, I'm using a popcorn thingamabob. Okay, now I'm going to get the Kashmiri chili, the sugar, and let's do that for now. Okie dokes, so I was able to find the, you can't see it's rubbed out, but this is the garam masala and this is the Kashmiri chili. I wish I was more organized. I can't find my sugar, so I'm going to go grab some teaspoons or tablespoons and then we'll go from there. Okay, I found the brown sugar, so I'm going to place the brown sugar here. I got 2 spoons that I could find. So we've got our half a tablespoon and we've got our quarter teaspoon. So if I have to deal with teaspoons, I'm gonna do 4 of these. And if I have to do tablespoons, I'm gonna do 2 of these. Okay, so now we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of Kashmiri chili. Can someone remind me the ratio of teaspoon to tablespoon? Anyway, I'm going to do 2 teaspoons, which means I'm going to do 8 of these, right? Well, that's what I'm doing. Okay, I've done 8 of those. Next, we're going to be doing 1 teaspoon of garam masala. I really like garam masala, so I'm going to add 1 tablespoon, just for a little oomph. There's that oomph it gives, and also because we did, let's confess, use the miso broth instead of just beef broth or vegetable broth, which I'm not the greatest fan of, so here it goes. Okay, so now that that is done, we will be adding our sugar, which is 1 teaspoon. That one I will follow to a T. So that's 4 of the little ones. And then we are pretty much done. I'll add some salt and pepper, and salt, pepper, let it simmer for 20 minutes. And then I think we're pretty much there. I did add an additional one just because the 3rd spoon I got was not full. So, okay, there we go. I want to show you what it looks like before I stir, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, dokes, follow me. So, I don't know if you can see, but right now it just looks like a bunch of spices. So I'm gonna hold it right here, put the light on so you can see. And right now it's just, it looks kind of funny, but it will be delicious. It will be. It has to be, because we've poured our heart into it. So, and the love is there. Do you feel the love? I feel the love. I will increase the heat just because it needs to do its thing. Okay, and then I'm really hoping that the miso is not going to be too strong. Pray for me, pray for me. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place you back on my muesli as my stand. And that's pretty much it. We're gonna let it do its thing for 20 minutes. And I guess my question is, here at the Holy Hiker podcast, we really love to talk to you about the things that we think about when we're in our cars by ourselves or on our way to school, on the subway, that really not necessarily plague us, but the things that we think about and we're like, does God really see that? Does he really care about those things? That's why we have the Holy Hiker podcast. My mom and I, fun fact, we have been living in different countries for over a decade now, I think, coming to a decade. And yet she's one of my closest best friends. If not my best friend, right after my husband. And yeah, we've been having these conversations, and we thought, why not turn it into a podcast? Why not do something where moms, daughters, sons, dads can join and talk about life, and talk about the joys. I think sometimes we do overemphasize the challenges and the difficulty, and there is so much beauty and joy. Yeah, I love to paint. That's kind of my creative outlet. What's yours? Let me know in the comments.